Gather round the campfire, friends. Let the flickering flames cast their warm glow upon us as I recount a tale most bizarre. Not long ago, I found myself leafing through the pages of a book. Its title was as peculiar as the story that unfolded: How to Eat a Flying Bus. Now picture that, a skybound vehicle designed for the roads, turned airborne and edible. This book, it wasn't an ordinary read. It took me on a journey part whimsical, part absurd. The flying bus, so grand in size, so unconventional in purpose, whizzed through the skies. Passengers clung to their seats as the landscape whirled below, their expressions a blend of delight and sheer disbelief. Imagine the scent of adventure that wafted through the bus's open windows, paired with the curious aroma of, well, culinary anticipation. At the crescendo of this peculiar narrative, the secret recipe unfolded. With each ingredient more fanciful than the last, a pinch of cloud fluff, some twilight spice, wisps of rainbow zest, the author stirred the pot of imagination with a naughty wink. For who could truly concoct such a meal? Who could dine on a flying bus without feeling the twist in their gut of such fanciful gastronomy? Yet, as the embers of our fire crackle in whispers, you have to wonder, what if? What if we embrace the wildness of this world, the fantastic, the impossible? What if eating a flying bus wasn't about taste, but about savoring the improbable? As we rub our eyes and glance at the night sky, let our minds feast upon the stars. For out there, in the boundless playground of the universe, perhaps, just perhaps, there's a place where flying buses are not so extraordinary, where they're the entree of the day, caught in nets woven by the laughter of zephyrs. Now, let's hold this whimsical morsel on our tongues as the fire dims. Let the sweetness of shared stories and the warmth of companionship be our true sustenance tonight. Thank you for indulging in this flight of fancy, and until we meet again, may your dreams be as delightful and as bizarre as a book titled How to Eat a Flying Bus. Good night, dear friends. Sleep tight. Gather round the crackling fire, friends. Let me spin you a yarn, a tale that stretches the fabric of our reality, about the engineering of a time machine. Feel the warmth on your face as I take you on a journey across the ages. Imagine rustling leaves, a hushed whisper on the wind. It's the idea of a contraption so wondrous, it could leapfrog through the centuries with the push of a button. To create such a marvel, we must first dip our toes into the flowing river of time itself. The great Einstein once mused that time is but a stubborn illusion, and who are we to argue? Each tick of the clock, a heartbeat in the cosmos, but capturing time in a bottle or a machine, to skip from epoch to epoch, that's where the true bewitchment lies. To build our mythical machine, we'd harness the power of the universe, stealing a page from the alchemist's book, weaving a cocoon of science and magic. There would be gears that shimmer with stardust, wiring as live as lightning, and a seat woven from the very threads of destiny. We must face the scientific hymns of relativity, catch them as they echo through space-time, stitching them into a melody, a guide for our mysterious craft. These hymns speak of wormholes, fanciful tunnels that bend notions of here and now. Our vessel would leap into their depths, only to emerge in a dance of decades lost or futures unfound. Yet, the creation of such a machine isn't without its shadowy corners, its haunting questions. What of the paradoxes, the ghost stories of time travel? They lurk in our design, waiting to ensnare us in a loop of cause and consequence. Could we really change the past without unraveling the tapestry of our own existence? Ah, but there it is, the bottom of our campfire tale. The blueprint of our time machine remains a patchwork of dreams and theory, and perhaps it shall ever remain just beyond the embers of our fire, flickering in the possibilities of tomorrow. So, while the fire dwindles, look upon its dying light. Think of the time machine not as a device or vessel, but as a story we tell. Wrapped in the blanket of night, the tale is as timeless as the stars above us, and as the fire fades to glowing coals, let it be a reminder that for now we live in the present, where every moment is our own adventure through time. Thank you. Dear listeners, may your nights be filled with wonder, and your dreams be timeless, until we meet again by the light of another fire. Gather round, friends. Feel the warmth of the crackling fire. Listen to the hushed whispers of the wind through the trees. For tonight I share with you a tale from the briny deep, the legend of the Flying Dutchman. Ah, the Flying Dutchman, a spectral ship, doomed to sail the oceans forever. It's a story that chills the spine of even the saltiest sea dogs. The captain, they say, was a man by the name of Hendrik van der Decken, his hubris as vast as the ocean itself. It was a storm-torn night, just like this one, when van der Decken faced the wrath of the heavens, vowing to round the Cape of Good Hope, even if it meant battling the storm until doomsday. He cursed the wind and the waves. But the heavens heard his oath and cursed him right back. Now his ghostly galleon haunts the waters, never to make port, never to feel the sweet relief of still land beneath his feet. Sailors whisper that to encounter the Flying Dutchman is an omen, a portent of doom for ships and their crew. Her tattered sails glow with an eerie light, and she moves against the wind, defying the laws of nature. I am the Flying Dutchman. Fight me, if you will. Van der Decken's challenge echoes across time, an eternal game of cat and mouse with the sea, a game where he is eternally outmatched. Some claim to have seen her, off in the distance on nights just like this, one moments before a storm, when the air is charged with electricity and the veil between worlds grows thin. But let's not fear the Dutchman's fate. Instead, let's take solace in the camaraderie we share here tonight. For as long as we respect the seas and skies, we'll stay cozy and safe around this earthly fire. Remember, my friends, as you lay down to sleep, if you hear the creak of phantom rigging or the distant shout of an ancient Dutchman, know it's just a story, one to spice up a night under the stars. So sleep well, don't let the bedbugs bite, and keep an ear out for the ghostly echo of the Flying Dutchman on the waves. Thank you for joining me by the fire for tonight's little glimpse into the great beyond. Gather round, my fellow night owls. The embers are glowing, the woods are hushed, and we're alone with the stories that dance just beyond the firelight. Tonight, I have a tale for you, a chilling encounter from the page to our very clearing. The book was called Do Not Sleep, a phrase that hung over each page like a wisp of fog, relentless, inescapable. It starts innocently enough. A tired protagonist, weary from the world, finds a quaint bed and breakfast for some much-needed rest. But there's a catch. In every room, a note, stark against the nightstand, do not sleep. It's strange, isn't it? How those simple words carry a weight when whispered under a canopy of stars. Their warning, etched into the walls of a quiet B&B, echoes through the silence of our own campsite. As the story unfolds, the nights grow longer, dreams and reality blur. The protagonist is tormented by visions just beyond perception and sounds just out of reach. Our own snaps of twigs and rustles of leaves could well be drawn from those pages. Its horror in the subtleties, the book's pulse slowly sinking with our own heightened senses. Each chapter challenges us to brave the dark, to keep our eyes wide against the heaviness, the lure of sleep. But why? What lurks within the embrace of dreams? The answer is shrouded in shadows, much like the woods that encircle us now. As the fire here dwindles to whispers of smoke, the final pages of Do Not Sleep race toward an ending that hooks into you, as if the story itself were a ghost from the past, determined to be heard by the flickering light. And when it ends, you're left with a stillness, a quiet so profound, you could hear the flutter of a moth's wing or perhaps the soft breath of a tale well told. So, as we settle into our sleeping bags, let's hold on to the warmth of the fire and the company of friends. Take solace in the night, and dare to dream despite the warnings. For in our campfire circle, we're safe from the pages of haunts and horrors. At least, I hope we are. Sleep tight, dear friends, and remember, the stories we share are the memories we kindle long after the stars have faded. Good night. Imagine, if you will, a flickering campfire and the soothing crackle of burning wood. There's a chill in the air, but here, gathered around the fire, the night feels almost enchanted, perfect for sharing mysteries and secrets whispered across time. There's a tale I heard in the corridors of my dreams, a meeting so vivid it stayed with me upon waking. It's the story of a conversation with none other than the Mona Lisa, yes, Leonardo da Vinci's enigmatic masterpiece. In the deep of the night, slumber wrapped around me like a cloak. I found myself walking the hallowed halls of the Louvre. Only there was no barrier between Mona Lisa and I. She gazed at me with those well-known eyes, and to my astonishment she spoke. Her voice was as soft as moonlight on velvet, yet it held a cautionary tone. Mona Lisa, Time trapped in oil and canvas, whispered of the burden of immortality. How her smile wasn't a mask of joy but a screen, hiding centuries of silent observation. She warned of our relentless pursuit for permanence. Our creations, our images, they entrap us, as much as we hope they would liberate. For her, a painted figure of fixation, she's seen epochs come and go, yet she remains, a spectator trapped. The most haunting piece of her spectral counsel focused on the digital age, an age where our images will outlive us, creating a new form of unforeseen consequence, misinterpretation and manipulation, spreading with an ease that didn't exist in her Renaissance world. She urged, "Cherish your fleeting moments, live not to be observed, but to experience. For all the eyes that have gazed upon me, I have never felt the sun on my face or the love of an embrace. You still have that chance, use it wisely." As the glow of dawn began to filter through my window, I woke, with the embers of the dream still warm within my mind. Mona Lisa's spectral warning was as much about the fragments of life we leave behind as it is about the fullness of life we choose to live now. So take her words, like the sparks from this campfire, rising to meet the vast, dark sky, a reminder that while our time here is brief, we have an unparalleled opportunity to not just be seen, but to live fully. Thank you for sharing this moment around the fire, where tales of the uncanny blend with the stirring of our own souls. Sleep well, dream freely, and may your reality be as rich and vibrant as the worlds you can visit in your dreams. Good night. Gather around, friends. Lean in a little closer to the warm glow of the campfire. Feel the heat push back the night's chill. Now let's imagine something whimsical, a scoop of your favorite ice cream sitting on the dusty surface of the moon. The moon, an ever-watchful guardian of our night sky. Think of it, holding a secret dessert buffet. But would that ice cream remain the sweet treat we know and love? Here's where the tale gets interesting, or should we say otherworldly. Now keep in mind, if you're conjuring images of creamy vanilla, draped with caramel sauce, melting under a lunar sunset, you're in for a surprise. The moon is space. Space is a vacuum. Without air, without an atmosphere, things get eerie, peculiar. Firstly, there's no air to carry the scent of simmering sugar or cocoa, no delightful fragrance to tantalize your senses. It's silent, eerily silent. Next comes the temperature. Oh, it's a dance of extremes, scorching hot in the sunlight, bitterly cold in the lunar night. But that scoop of ice cream would sit in a curious limbo, where the sun's unfiltered rays would never allow it to melt into sweet, sticky pools. Instead, that scoop would be freeze-dried, quickly losing moisture via a process called sublimation. The whimsy quickly becomes a ghostly spectacle as the ice cream's very essence is drawn into the void. Would it be tasty, you ask? On the moon, your taste buds would betray you. No air in your mouth means no taste, no creamy, dreamy experience. And if you removed your space helmet, well, let's not venture down that path of spooky space fables. But let's end on a twinkling thought. Our campfire tale doesn't need a taste test. Instead, let the image of a freeze-dried ice cream scoop on the moon be a reminder of the outer limits, the wonders and curiosities awaiting beyond our blue sky. So as the embers glow and the night deepens, ponder the mysteries of space and the ice cream scoop that dreamt of being an astronaut. It may not be scrumptious, but it's certainly a small dip for a scoop, a giant leap for dessert kind. Thank you for joining me in this lunar confectionery fantasy. Rest well, adventurers, under our watchful moon's light. Gather round, my friends. Let the crackle of the fire be the backdrop as we delve into the tale of the darkest book I've ever read. Its words, a tapestry of shadows, woven with the ink of nightmares. This tome, its ancient cover etched in the chilling aura of another world, it whispered of secrets, secrets that shouldn't be known to the living. Imagine, if you will, a narrative so gripping that by the first chapter, you've been ensnared in its spectral embrace. Each turn of the page, a step deeper into the abyss. The protagonist, a scholar of the arcane, stumbled upon this cursed volume on a stormy night, just as you and I could be if it weren't for the warmth of these fire's flames. With each chapter, our hero's world grew darker, the words not just read but felt, a cold breath upon the neck, an unseen watcher over a shoulder. But what's a chilling tale without the unforgettable feeling, that sensation of being watched, the shiver down your spine as if the book itself had eyes, gazing into the deepest caverns of your soul. You see, this wasn't just fiction, it was a mirror, reflecting the parts of us we dare not acknowledge. The book, a boundless void that beckoned with a morbid allure, to leap into a world without light, to embrace the emptiness. And as I closed the final page, I felt a silence, a stillness, as if the very air had stilled to mourn the end of the journey. Now, as our crackling campfire paints our faces with dancing light and shadow, let us reflect on the stories that have left their mark upon our spirits. Fear not, for as the embers glow, we are reminded, it's just a book. Thank you for joining me tonight. Return to your tents with only the remnants of a tale, and maybe, just maybe, a peek over your shoulder into the darkness, just to be sure. Good night, dear listeners. May your dreams be lighter than the shadowed pages we turned this evening. Gather round, friends. Let the soft crackle of the campfire draw you in as I tell you a tale of a journey and a mysterious encounter with the woman in white. It was a chill evening, a lot like this one, when I found myself aboard a train, the carriages rattling, racing against the whispering wind. The countryside was a blur, just shadows and moonlight, when I noticed her, a figure draped in a flowing gown, pale as the mist outside, sitting across from me. Her eyes, a deep enigma, met mine only for a fleeting moment before shifting back to the window. The air grew colder, as if her presence drew heat from the very heart of the train. An odd stillness settled, one of those silences that begs countless questions. She turned, her lips barely moving, whispering stories of times long past, tales of love lost, of ghosts haunting the tracks where we now sped. She spoke of her love, waiting at a station that no train stops at anymore. Her words, a soft chant that mingled with the clatter of wheels on track. The lights flickered, a signal, telling us of moments when the veil between worlds grows thin. Her form flickered too, like a candle denied its flame, yet she remained, as if bound to the spot by an unseen force. As the final destination neared, her voice faded with the hum of the slowing train, her image dissolving into the air, just like fog meeting the dawn. Passengers bustled around, unaware or unseeing of the woman, a figment, perhaps a ghost from a bygone era, still riding, waiting, longing for the stop that never comes. And as our journey ended, I stepped off the train into the crisp night air, left wondering, had I crossed paths with a spirit? A lost soul riding the rails, as eternal as the stars above. So next time you find yourself on a fast-moving train, watch the shadows, listen for whispers, a story may unfold. Quiet like the rustle of leaves, a campfire tale, much like this one, about the woman in white. Thank you for sharing this journey, and may your nights always be filled with just the right amount of mystery, until we meet again by the warmth of another fire.